Hello students, welcome to Legacy As Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a big news coming from Bangladesh, where it seems that Bangladeshi army is going to partake in a US-led clandestine operation, where they are going to target the Myanmar's junta, which has been, what you can say, ruling the country for past few years. So let us try to understand the entire detail surrounding this particular news or this particular event, how Bangladesh or why Bangladesh want to get involved in the military operation in the Myanmar, what is the stake of United States as far as the Myanmar is concerned, and what are the different rival and rebel groups that will also participate in this operation against the Myanmar's military. So first of all, to give you the brief background of this particular topic, as per the recent report coming from Bangladesh and also confirmed by the Bangladeshi military officials, it seems that at least 3 divisions of Bangladeshi military, that is the division number 10th, division number 17th and the division number 24th. All these divisions are largely based on what we can call as Cox's Bazar region, which is the southernmost region of Bangladesh. So they will be deployed as part of the plan. Now, interestingly, it is not that the Bangladesh military is directly going to participate in offensive operation. They're not going to participate in any kind of what we can call as a direct confrontation, direct attack on the Myanmar's military. Rather, they are going to be involved in what we can call as a back end. Why back end? Because they are going to support the Myanmar's rebel group by providing them adequate supplies. Supplies can be as basic and essential like ration, food, drinking water, as well as even military supplies and logistics. Second, in terms of logistics also, because you know that whenever a war is fought, whenever a battle is fought, the most important things that has to be considered by the militaries is they should have adequate access to logistic so that they can get even background support in case it is required, and all other kind of tactical support to a coalition of forces. Now, when you're talking about the coalition of forces, largely it means that Bangladesh will support 2 major groups that currently are fighting or waging what you can call as a war against the Myanmar's junta. That is the Arakan army, and second is the Chin National Front. Now, let us try to understand this group also in details, that who are these groups. So first of all, if you look at the Chin National Front, as you can see, the flag of Chin National Front is displayed here. Now, Chin basically is one of the groups or ethnic groups, you can say, that reside in the Rakhine region of the Bangladesh. And basically the Chin armed wing, if you talk about, it is nothing but a military wing of a political organization that is called a Chin Nationalist Political Organization that was set up in the year 1988. Now, the Chin National Army, which is the arm wing of this particular organization, is which is going to get supported by the Bangladesh. Now, the main reason why Chin National Front is putting a fight, or we can say joint fight with the Arakan army against the Myanmar's military or Myanmar's military junta, is because they are having a clear goal. And this goal is that they want to establish a federal union based on self-determination, ethnic equality and democracy. To understand, we have to first of all look at the map of the Myanmar, and if you look at the map of Myanmar, you will see that there are many ethnic groups that reside in different parts of the country, and many times the groups or the ethnic groups which are in minority, they claim that the ethnic majority groups that is largely leading your Myanmar's military are involved in some sort of persecution. The best example of this we can see case of Rohingyas. So the Chin National Front want to have their own government based on the self-rule and self-determination. Similarly, Arakan army, if we talk about it, is a military wing of the ethnic Rakhine community. As I told you that the name of the province or the region is Rakhine. Why? Because Rakhine community is the major, what you can call is the largest group in that particular area. The army sought shelter with the Kachin Independence Army in the northern Myanmar in the early time. 2019, however, it signed a ceasefire with the civilian government that, if you remember, was formed under the leadership of the Nobel Prize winner laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. But as you know, that the military of Myanmar was not happy with the civilian democratic rule. That is why they had participated in what you can call as a military coup, and then all the leaders of the civilian government were arrested, including Aung San Suu Kyi. And thus, in 2022, the coming of military junta as a main ruler of Myanmar has led to a breakdown of the ceasefire, and since then Arakan army has continuously contested and many cases successfully against the Myanmar's military to have complete control over the Rakhine region. And if you look at the current situation, only 3 townships of Rakhine is currently under control of Myanmar's military. Remaining 14 townships is already being captured by the rebel groups such as Arakan Army and the Chin National Front. The current leader of Arakan Army, as you can see, is Tuan Murat Naik. So these are the two groups that are going to get the support or back-end support by the Bangladesh military. Now, to understand this, we have to first of all look at the map of the region, and why Bangladesh is so interested here. The reason is because Bangladesh has a close border with Myanmar. Apart from Bangladesh, India also share a long border. The entire northeastern region, if you talk about, is sharing the border of the Myanmar. But if you look at this particular region, this is, if you look in more detail, is the region of Bangladesh that is called as Cox's Bazar, as shown in the orange, and below this Cox's Bazar is the Myanmar, and more precisely the Rakhine region of Myanmar, where both Arakan Army and Chin National Front is fighting and waging a tough battle against the Myanmar's military. Currently, the capital of Myanmar, is administrative capital, can say is Naypyidaw, where the largely control of Myanmar's military is exercised. Now, before moving further, I would also want to bring your attention toward a new regular batch that we are going to start in the Legacy IAS Academy. That batch will start on 12th of May 2025. This will be a weekday batch. That means every day between Monday to Friday, you'll have the classes held in two sessions, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the morning session and 2 to 5 p.m. in the evening session. This batch will be a comprehensive, this course structure is very comprehensive in nature. We have designed in such a manner that the entire preparation for the UPSC will be taken care of right from the prelims examination through the mains and then up to finally the personality interview and personality test. Also, we believe that it's not only that you have to learn and what you can call attend classes. Along with the classes, you can give a better edge to your preparation if you are writing frequent tests as well. And that is why we will ensure that you have access to frequent class tests on a weekly basis right from the beginning, so you can understand your strength, weaknesses, analyze them, and then based on that also you can streamline your preparation. Now, for those of you who do not have possibility to prepare for this examination, what you can call as full time, because of maybe you are in the job and something. So for working professionals, we also have weekend batch where every week classes will be held on Saturday and Sunday, full day class between 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. All the programs, features that you will have access to in the weekday batch will be available to you as well. And last, for those of you who are trying to write prelims examination in this year, which is just few weeks away from now, you should try to participate in free All India Prelims mock test that you can avail by signing up at our platform that is given here, or you can download the app of Legacy IAS Academy and then check your progress, and based on that further you can streamline your preparation. Now, coming back to this particular topic, if you talk about the operation, operation seems to be a broader US plan to take on the Myanmar military junta in the Rakhine state. That is from where the beginning will be, because first of all, Bangladesh has a border with Rakhine state, and Rakhine state is the region where the rival group seems to be having a much more stronger foothold. And then even after that, further, the government and what you can call as the rebel groups and the US government and Bangladesh government can try to capture power in the other regions of Myanmar. Now, these units will not play any military role. That is what we have discussed in the beginning, and will only provide logistics and supply support to a coalition of insurgent forces in the Rakhine state. And also that is why many of the military experts argue that this entire operation seems to be nothing but a type of US-led proxy war. Proxy war is a term that we generally use when the major powers are not directly involved in any kind of war, involved in any kind of counter-offensive operation. Rather, they are supporting some minor power, small groups, small countries, and by ensuring that these small groups keep on fighting with each other, the larger interest of this major power is served. So basically, that is the kind of proxy war which US seems to be playing or taking part in the Myanmar as well. Now, before the offensive began, if you look at the preparation for offensive, it already began few months back. When you have look at the military logistic perspective, first of all, a massive facility was built near the Teknaf. Again, if you look at the map here, this is the Myanmar's border, this is the Bangladesh, that is Cox's Bazar, and just here you can see nearby you have a region called as Teknaf, that is in Bangladesh, just few kilometers from the Myanmar border. So in the Teknaf, already a massive facility has been built up by Bangladesh military, largely to push supplies and other material. It can act as a hub. Apart from that, also, as we have discussed, it is part of US-backed proxy war, Myanmar's military against Myanmar's military junta, which now remains in effective control of only 3 townships in the Rakhine state. That is also one thing we have to keep in mind, because I told you that in the Rakhine state you have total 17 townships. Out of this, 14 townships are already in the we can say already are in the are captured by the rebel groups. Apart from that, also the Bangladesh military has focused upon the expansion of the Cox's Bazar airport in this area, which seems to be in the final stage. And this airport can then, as per the Bangladesh military officials, seems to be a reason why they have developed it, because they want to use it as a drone base. And largely from Turkey, if you remember, even in the Russia-Ukraine war, a very well-known drone from Turkey called as Bayraktar was used, and that has played a very critical role in the war. So similar kind of role seems to be what has been designed for the Turkish UAV, that is Bayraktar, and it will operate from the Cox's Bazar airport. So these are some of the preparation that has been done before the offensive can begin. Even before that, if you talk about at the stakeholder level, consultation level, we have seen a meeting between the Arakan army and the Chin National Front in Bangladesh, again to clarify, both of these groups are representing two different ethnic groups. One represents the Rakhine group, other represents the Chin group. So they already have met in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh military also have ensured that they are able to stay safe in Bangladesh, and that is why they have been housed in the safe houses, and that is where they have chalked out a cohesive strategy where the mobilization of all the forces together can happen in the Rakhine state and beyond. Also, before that, we also have seen a report of clandestine meeting that has taken place between the representative of these rebel groups with the three important US official. One is the US charged affairs in the Naypyidaw, that is in Myanmar. Second, you have the Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asia. And second, you have the Assistant Secretary of State for the East and East Asia. So these three top level US delegates have met with the representative of this group, again to chalk out what should be their plan. Apart from that, also one other thing which has been focused upon by the Bangladesh specifically, especially after coming up of new National Security Advisor of Bangladesh, is the Khaliur Rahman. So he has planned what we can call as an aid corridor. This is a part of larger strategy to identify and use an aid corridor. Now, what is aid corridor? We know that in the northern part of Myanmar, there was a large group of people that used to reside before called as Rohingya, and because of the ethnic persecution of Rohingyas, many of the Rohingyas have to flee. And as we have discussed that since the Bangladesh is the neighboring country, closest country, a lot of refugees from the Rohingya group have entered and are living and were given shelter in the Bangladesh. So basically, in case if this particular offensive gains a military success in the Rakhine state, the attempt will be made to use this corridor for the return of Rohingyas back to their home in Myanmar. In this instance, under the leadership of Muhammad Yunus, who is the interim advisor or chief advisor of the interim government to the Bangladesh, a list of about 80,000 Rohingyas have already been prepared, who will be repatriated to the Rakhine state in the event of military success, because currently these Rohingyas are taking refuge in the Bangladesh. Now we have discussed that if you look at the Rakhine state, which is going to be the major area of operation or theater of the war, here you can see that the purple line that you see, or purple region that you see, is largely region that is occupied by the Chin group, represented by the Chin National Front. Then we have discussed the other major group you have is the Rakhine. Those are a smaller group that you will find in what you can call as the eastern coast of the Rakhine. Rakhine anyway is a coastal area. And then apart from that, you can see this region is where you have the Rohingya population. So in event of military success, again some Rohingyas can be repatriated back from Bangladesh to this particular region, which used to be their home up to few years back. Now, apart from that, also one more attempt is being made by the Bangladesh military is to bring Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army also in this group of the counter-offensive, or in this group that will take part in counter-offensive. We already have discussed Arakan Army, Chin National Front, and also ARSA as it's called as, they can be brought in. And in this regard, already attempt is being made, and this seems to be very difficult task, because if you look at the Arakan Army and Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army, they were ideologically and militarily opposed to each other. Again, Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army largely is fighting and waging a war for the interests of the Rohingya community. So last year, the leader of the Arakan Rohingya Salvation Army was arrested in the Dhaka. The chief is called as Ataullah, along with 9 other associates, and basically this arrest was made to start a negotiation to put together a broad coalition of forces ranged against the Myanmar military junta. And if they are able to join hand here as well, then we can also understand from the map again that all the 3 major groups of Rakhine state and their military forces can then put a joint attack, a joint operation against the Myanmarese junta, which is having control over other regions of Myanmar. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you got the idea behind why Bangladesh is involved in the Myanmarese domestic dispute, and how, if the offensive operation indeed begin, how it will take shape or we'll see taking shape in the near future. If you like the video, please hit like button, share it with your aspirants, as well as subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you very much.